Good morning, people, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Tuesday, the 14th of June. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this wonderful morning by Jonny McFarlane. Is it as sunny up in there in Glasgow as it is down here in Warrington, Jonny?
It's certainly not, Derek. No, it's grey and horrible. So I can see the sun streaming through your window and illuminating your lovely face. So clearly it's better weather there than it is here.
I must say, I saw that your video you posted of the two foxes playing in the street. That was quite incredible.
Mate,
that's some sort of David Attenborough commentary in the background, to be honest.
The thing is we are overrun with foxes. It's absolutely mad, and they just play in the light. Like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they'll come into your garden. You'll be sitting in your garden doing a bit of work or anything, and they will just sort of stand and look at you as if to say, "What are you doing in my garden?" It's crazy, but there you go. Such is life up here.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we begin the show, lads and ladies, of course, as you can see, the OneFootball app on your screen there is our sponsor to the Rangers Review. It is, of course, your one-stop shop for all your footballing needs. The good news is about it is totally free. It doesn't cost you a penny, and it's got loads of Rangers Review content on there. You can keep up to date with all the latest goings-on from Ibrox. Not only there, there's also fixture lists on there, and you can get clued up on opposition teams in Scottish football, and also across the border down south and beyond as well. You can download it for both Android and iPhone users. It's a OneFootball app. It really is your one-stop shop for all your footballing needs. And we know Joshua mentioned when he was on the holiday, they got the notification when Connor Goldson signed that new deal. So you'll get notifications also. A lot of people that are downloading are saying great things. So get it downloaded, folks. Before we begin, I think everyone at the Rangers Review just sends their thoughts and wishes out to the Wilson family. Of course, sad news today. Davy Wilson sadly passing away at the age of 85. He made 373 appearances over 11 seasons at Ibrox. He played under Scott Simon. He scored 158 goals before leaving the club in 1967. A Rangers statement released said the thoughts of the director, staff and players of Rangers are today with the family and friends of Davy, and may he rest in peace. Okay, let's talk about the news today, Jonny. I know in the title you've got the sort of latest with regards to Ross Stewart. This was a report that emerged from down south suggesting he is Rangers' number one target should Alfredo Morelos leave the club. Now, you've been doing a bit of digging. Can you update us on the latest state of play?
Yeah, so there's several stages to this story. The first one is, I don't think Rangers are in any mind to let Alfredo Morelos walk out the door. There's still negotiations ongoing. The club are keeping their cards very close to their chest on how close a deal is or how that's going. And I think, like Connor Goldson, we'll hear when we hear, when it's dropped. It's just the way they do business now, but I don't think there's any movement with regards to Alfredo Morelos departing, put it that way. And even if he was to depart, I don't think Ross Stewart would be seen as the guy to replace Alfredo Morelos at all. Ross Stewart is someone that Rangers have looked at. That's quite clear. And he is a good player. He is someone who has experience of the Scottish League. He performed pretty well for Ross County. He's a 1-in-4 type striker for Ross County, but it's difficult to do much better than that, really, at a team that's struggling. And especially when he was there, they were struggling. You know, they had a good season last year, but prior to that, they've been kind of relegation battlers when Ross Stewart was there. But he obviously attracted interest while at County, Derek, and managed to get his move down to England.
Yeah.
On the back of that, I know he was certainly offered to a lot of clubs because he was able to leave Ross County for about £300,000 and managed to get a move to Sunderland, which we all know is a massive club. He's performed really well. I think he's got 24 goals there in his 46 odd appearances in League One. And the Cups, he's done really well. He's been a focal point. He's a big, tall lad, powerful, looks after himself. And he's only got a year left in his contract now. So I think there's scope for movement. But I don't think he's a Rangers priority target. I don't think he would be seen as the guy that would come in and be the main man. I think he would be seen as part of a rebuild of the strikers, whereby he's in with a group of players who can add goals. Now, you remember in the 55 season, Alfredo Morelos, you had Cedric Itten, you had Kemar Roof, you had Jermain Defoe, you had Greg Stewart. And in some ways, maybe a way to look at it would just be that it's a Stewart for Stewart swap. You know, a Greg Stewart for a Ross Stewart, in terms of their role in the squad as someone to provide goals. As a Scottish player, that is kind of how I would see it. As opposed to this would be someone that would be coming in and making a major impact. Now, you've got a year left. Sunderland have just gone up into the Championship, but from what I understand, it would not be a deal that would be financially insurmountable. I think the kind of figures that I've been hearing, Derek, I don't think they're right. You know, I've heard people talk about 6 million, things like that. I don't think that would be the case. I think it would be a significantly cheaper deal than that to do if Rangers wanted to do it. But I don't think he's a key priority at all, but he's someone that the club have watched. So I don't think that was a fully accurate picture that did emerge yesterday.
Yeah.
From my own point of view, Derek, I like the player, having looked at him. Initially, I wasn't sure when I first heard the rumour. I just thought, this doesn't strike me as a player that would add much to Rangers, but having looked into him, looked at the scouting reports that have come in for the Rangers review, he offers you a bit of flexibility. He can play across the front three, especially from the left.
Yep.
He's been pretty good. He's powerful. He's really good in the air. He's got a decent touch. He looks after himself. And he's the kind of guy, I think, that he's risen to every challenge as he's come up the leagues. So he started out in junior football, went to Ross County, went to Sunderland, and at every level, he's stepped up. So I think as that kind of signing, as a Cedric Itten type signing, I think Ross Stewart, I'm growing on the idea. But I don't think it's anywhere near the kind of fait accompli that's been talked about. And I talked to a source who told me that there was 10 clubs interested in Ross Stewart at the moment. And they are from the English Championship. I think some of them are obviously from different leagues. But the majority of them are from the Championship. And that's where there's serious interest. Now, there's not been any concrete offers to Sunderland, but it's extremely early. And no one's panicking about that, I don't think. I think these offers are going to come. So I think if Rangers want to do it, I think the deal's there to be done. I think Stewart would be quite keen on the move. But it's a long way off. And I think that the club certainly would not see Ross Stewart as a direct replacement for Alfredo Morelos. That's absolutely not the case at all.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I'm a fan of him. I've went on record. You know what I feel about him, even when they get absolutely annihilated 6-0 at Bolton. He was a standout player for me. Good feet for a big guy, as the old saying goes.
He was a standout in a 6-0 defeat.
What's that, Johnny?
Was that a 6-0 defeat or a 6-0 win?
You're breaking up there, but yeah. What were you saying there?
I'm saying, was it a 6-0 defeat or a 6-0 win?
Well, they get pumped 6-0,
right.
But this is what's weird about it. He looked decent. He was the best players for Sunderland that day, who were an absolute shambles. Lee Johnson gets sacked the next day. Of course, he's now at his. Yeah. But he was one that stood out for me, and I wouldn't be opposed to see him at Ibrox in the summer. But you're right. He's nowhere near the Alfredo Morelos, different type of player as well, of course. But Rangers need strikers. There's no doubt about it. Some of the comments coming in saying they need someone that's decent in front of goal. Of course, I've put a piece on the website this morning. A number of strikers that are available on a free, Johnny, that could fill the void left by Jermain Defoe. Now, I'm not saying Rangers should go out and get these guys. I'm just saying that these guys are available, experienced pros that will be given numerous chances in front of goal should they join Rangers. And I'm sure that the Ross Olsen and the recruitment staff will be looking to add more firepower to the squad. There's no doubt about it. That was one of the main negatives of the season. The downsides, of course, not scoring enough goals, and that's why the league title wasn't sort of retained. So I'm sure it's an area of the pitch they'll need to improve upon.
On that, Derek, I think like the one thing that we saw with Jermain Defoe was a guy that came in and he made those people around him a bit better. You know, he added a lot to Alfredo Morelos. We heard stories of their relationship off the pitch, and it was obvious that they got on really well. And Defoe, when he came on, was still really sharp despite being in the twilight years of his career. And I just think Rangers would benefit from having another player of that kind of mould, like an experienced guy who's seen it, who's done it, who knows where the nets are, who isn't going to be demanding to play 60 games a season, but maybe could play 25, come off the bench, start a few games domestically. The kind of Defoe model, I think that's solid model. I think that is something that the club should consider, especially if that player is someone who can offer quite a lot behind the scenes, as Defoe did.
Yeah.
So I think your list is full of interesting options. And you know, it's football manager stuff. We're looking at who's available and saying these are options. A bit of fun, but it's also masking a serious issue, which is we're cognizant of what Jermain Defoe offered the club on and off the pitch, and we're saying, that was something that's worthwhile repeating. It's actually a structure that makes sense for Rangers, given these two strikers that you have, given that they probably won't get that much game time. Having somebody in that's 35, 36, who knows where the nets are and can give you that kind of experience off the pitch, I think is a real positive.
Yeah, but I've put the link in the description, folks. You can go and check it out for yourselves. Another comment that came in, Jonny, that there was a bit of confusion yesterday. John Davidson brings it up. Hi, guys. What did you take from the Bassey tweet that he took down? Now, this was just prior to him starting for Nigeria in a 10-0 win for Sao Tome and Principe in Morocco. It basically just thanking a luxury chauffeur service. It was just outside the Wolverhampton, the Wolves training ground. It was then took down. I was intrigued to find out what was going on. I've got a contact at Nigeria. I was told that he's with the team. He didn't hop on a flight over to Wolverhampton to sign for Wolves.
We've said he's lightning before, but not literally lightning. You would have to be literally.
Yeah. What do you make of it, Jonny? What's your take on it?
Oh, it's just noise, isn't it? Look, it's a bit of fun. You know, everyone gets excited around transfer time, and with the advent of social media, the excitement that used to exist around the papers in the morning is now lasts all day, because anything that happens on social media is blown up. Footballers have a team, and they have guys who do their social media, who put things out at a certain time, who basically go through the motions with their social media content to hit all the points on an agreement they might have to back certain companies or whatever. Like that's something that is provided for footballers by various agencies, and it seems to be quite obvious that Calvin Bassey didn't post that.
Yeah,
you know, an hour before he started an international game. You know, I think his focus might have been elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it seems fairly straightforward that what's happened here is, you know, this is a picture that's been taken some time ago, that's been posted out. It might have been an error, it might not have been an error, it might be in the wrong time, whatever, who knows? But you know, if Wolves come in for Calvin Bassey, you know, great. They'll either offer the right amount of money and Rangers will do really well, or they'll not and he'll stay. And Rangers have got a terrific player. For me, the Calvin Bassey situation, I'd love to hear what people think in the comments. I think Rangers are in an absolutely win-win situation. If he remains at Ibrox, they've got a potentially world-class centre-back, a terrific left-back, and a guy who can potentially go for more money. And if he doesn't, if he ends up going, then I think Rangers will be walking away with a record fee and probably selling a guy at a time when you're unlikely to see him really get a higher profile than having been man of the match in a European final. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Now, if Rangers get to the Champions League, obviously, and Bassey's terrific, then maybe that would take him to a different level because it would just reinforce what people have already seen. But I don't think there's anything in the Wolves thing. I don't think there's anything to worry about, though, for Rangers fans, because either way, it's good. You know, I really do think that. Some people will bristle at the idea of Bassey going and sort of celebrating that. But this is a guy you got for 300,000. I know for a fact Rangers are not going to accept any offers that don't meet the value, and their valuation is huge. I think Bassey at 25 million is an absolute steal, Derek. Said it before, I'll say it again. Pace and power, everything you need for the Premier League. Why a team like Newcastle, for example, or someone like that who's cash rich, hasn't come in and quickly snapped him up, I do not know. If they'd been watching him all season in Europe, I think they would have seen a player that has clearly got levels to go. So, yeah, I ultimately, I just don't think Bassey is really one to worry about. I'd be more worried about Morelos and Kent, frankly, because with a year left on their contracts, you might be almost more likely to have to do a bit of give and take when it comes to a transfer fee. Whereas Bassey, you hold all the aces.
Yeah.
You know, you can say he's not going. You can say like Grant McRoberts says, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But Grant, let me tell you, if someone comes in with 25 million, he is going somewhere. So that's a fact. You know, but Rangers have no intention of selling Calvin Bassey. That's fundamental.
Yeah.
But you know, Rangers are also a selling club. That's the realism. Part of the 4 pillars of the club's financial plans. So you have to accept that that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I love the dedication for folk watching this show, Jonny. David Kerr says he's late, but he slipped a disc, so I'll let him off with that one, David. Hopefully you're back on the mend soon. And a happy birthday to Gallant Pioneer. He says his birthday today, lads, but he found out he shares it with Callum McGregor day route already. Happy birthday, Gallant. Hopefully you have a good day. There was an interesting point I wanted to touch on, Jonny. I know we mentioned in the striker department a possible experienced pro to come in and replace Jermain Defoe. Rob Call raises a decent point I wanted to put to you.
Yes.
I know we're probably healthy in defence, but if Katic or Hollander go, would Gary Cahill be an option as a Defoe role in defence? Would you be opposed to Gary Cahill coming in, 36 years of age now?
Well, I'll tell you why I would be. Because the way Van Bronckhorst plays, or the way certainly he's been playing, has been very aggressive, front foot, man-for-man defending. And I think if you're 36, you're going to be lacking a bit of mobility, lacking a bit of pace, and that would be very, very exposed in a man-for-man system. So I think that would be a difficult one. That said, the other thing I would say about this is Connor Goldson and James Tavernier are now experienced players. Connor Goldson's 29, James Tavernier 30, and have been there, seen it, done it. Do you need another experienced head in there when you've got those two? Philip Hollander's a Swedish international. I don't think Rangers are short of that. I know what you mean. You can't really say that there's too much experience in any team. Experience is always a good thing, but I think Gary Cahill would be a struggle in terms of fitting the Van Bronckhorst style.
Yeah. There's a no bother, Gallant Pioneer. Hopefully you have a good day. Adam Beanie Smith just corrects you, Johnny. He was the Rangers man of the match in the Europa League final. We know that Trapp, the goalkeeper, was the official Europa League final man of the match, but Bassey certainly was absolutely outstanding in that game.
Doesn't that tell you everything about that final, Derek?
Yeah.
That the goalkeeper was the man of the match. Not only was it painful enough to lose on penalties, but to have the goalkeeper then be given man of the match. I've kind of shut that out of my brain completely. Now that Adam says it, yes, it's correct. But for me, Calvin Bassey was the man of the match. I'm not having anyone else say anything because in terms of outfield, he was absolutely tremendous, and he was our man of the match. So in our ratings, so I'm sticking with that.
Yeah, he absolutely was. And before we depart from today's show, Jonny, I just wanted to touch on another bit of news that emerged yesterday regarding Rory Wilson. Of course, 16 years of age, heading down to join Aston Villa on the 1st of July. Apparently, this Rangers and Villa pulls apart in terms of add-ons, valuation, and what have you. Rangers rejected a final offer for him. Now they look to be on collision course with FIFA with regards to this one. Where do you stand on this? Rangers, of course, quite right to demand what they feel the player is valued at. He's been taken away. Of course, it'll just be a development fee. I think Villa just looking to pay the minimum required.
Yeah, it's frustrating, Derek, because it's happening more and more. This clubs coming in and seizing Scottish youngsters or teams players that Scottish clubs have reared. We've seen it happen across the city at Celtic. We've seen it happen with Billy Gilmore at Rangers. I think Brexit has obviously influenced that, and it makes Scottish players much more attractive, or Scottish-based players much more attractive. But Rangers are absolutely right to fight tooth and nail on this one, Derek, because you don't want to make it easy for clubs to come and do this. Obviously, Gerrard's got the one-up on this one because he'll know the player well from his time at Rangers, and he'll know exactly what kind of quality that he's got and how good he can become. But it's frustrating because obviously you want to see young players coming through and become Rangers. It's as simple as that. That is one of the most satisfying parts of being a Rangers fan, I'm sure. And ultimately seeing guys who come through the system go out on the pitch and deliver, that's what it's all about. But it's going to be more difficult because the level of these clubs down south now, in terms of the finances, in terms of what they can offer, and it's huge. And more, you've got this kind of generation that's coming through now, Derek, that, this is not everyone, so it's a generalisation, but when I was a kid coming through, there was more of a kind of focus on Scottish football. It was more of for example, on my playground, there was kids with Rangers tops, Celtic tops, Aberdeen tops. I'm from Perth, so it's St Johnstone tops. There was a big mix. I look at playgrounds now when I'm taking my niece or nephew to school or whatever, or picking them up, or it's often Manchester United, Barcelona, Real Madrid. And we've seen the way that football's gone. It's kind of polarised between the rich and the haves and the have-nots, and the glamour of the big-name players. And what you see now is people are gravitating towards the elite clubs. And it's like most kids now have a few teams, and sometimes they switch based on where the player's going. It's a different outlook, it's a different mindset, and I think that's been an important change in football. And these kids that are coming through youth systems, they don't see necessarily, I don't think, Rangers being the be-all and end-all, being the goal, like say a young Barry Ferguson did, for example. I think they see it as a stepping stone to the riches of the Premier League. And it's not just psychological about the glamour of it. I think it's the finances that just take you onto a different level. If you can go somewhere where you have the potential of earning 500k a week, Derek, or even average players are earning 60, 70k a week. That's life-changing sums, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. You can't compete with those sort of figures. It sets families up for life, of course, as well. But Rangers rightly holding out for what the player is worth. So it looks like it's got a long way to run yet. Derek Craig gets in touch. He says, damn it, got stuck on the work call I've missed this morning almost entirely now. Don't worry, Derek, you can watch it on repeat. So don't worry about that, buddy. We'll forgive you for that work call. But just to make sure next time it's before probably about 9. Make sure no work calls between 9 and 10 if you can help it. Okay, folks, that'll do us there. Thanks to everyone for interacting with the show. As ever, it is very much appreciated. Remember, just a reminder of that great offer we've got on the site just now. It's £2.99 a month, but if you subscribe now, you get a free 30-day trial, so you can find out if it's for you. It's a fantastic offer, even at £2.99. It really is great value for money. Just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe for all the details. Okay, we'll be back again tomorrow, but until then, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.